I told my wife when we got married that I'm gonna spend the first few years just building up the business. I'm gonna buy a building before we buy a house. In fact, I'm gonna buy a second office before we buy a house. But then COVID hit and no one was coming into the office anymore. So it just didn't make sense to continue like making all that money and then try to pay towards rent or pay towards an office because we didn't know if people were coming back into the office. So I decided just to go ahead and buy a house, bite the bullet, buy a house. And I redid the entire basement. That's why like we're in this studio now. So we got like a movie theater and studio where we record content. And then I got my office downstairs and we have all these spots throughout the basement where we can record content. So essentially what I did was just build out a home office. And that's kind of how we pivoted, in 2020 for COVID. We just didn't want to invest all this money into an office that we might not even use. In fact, I was this close to signing $1 million lease March of 2020. It was literally like the first week or the last week of February, first week of March. It was like, we're in the process. They sent us the contract. We were ready to sign the contract. And then I got into an accident on March 6th on the same exact road where that office was located. Like it was literally a mile up on that same road. Crashed my car with my wife in it. It's like the scariest thing that ever happened. All the airbags exploded at once and everything just went dark because the lights stopped working. And it was like God was telling me, hold off on getting that office because we were basically home-ridden, bedridden for about a week just to kind of like get back into the groove of things. A week later, COVID hit nationwide, shut down the entire country. A few days after that, all my employees are like, look, we're scared to come into the office. We don't want to come into the office anymore. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just hold off on buying this office, getting this lease. That would have been like 20 grand a month for 5 years, which is like well over $1 million. And instead, I just reinvested that back into my team, my infrastructure, my clients, my advertising. And I think that was like a pivotal moment in my career during COVID, which is why we grew at 340% last year in 2020 compared to everyone else that basically tanked in 2020. So I guess bottom line is, man, sometimes when a bad thing happens to you, it really just depends on your perspective of it as to whether it's really bad. Because I think nothing is bad unless it makes you into a worse person. But if it makes you into a better person and it has a positive outcome in the end, then no matter what the action was in the beginning, it's still a good thing.